YouTube, this is the latest how to play, how to side, and how to buy. And today I'm going to be talking about Madolches. I'm not going to go into a specific deck or deck builds or some of the main plays, but I'm just going to teach you guys what you guys need to know if you're playing against the deck or if you want to know how the deck works, essentially. So all Madolches have this following effect. When this card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, and sent to the graveyard, shuffle this card into your deck. All Madolche monsters have this effect, except for their Xyz monster. But that is the main play that you're going to be using. You're going to shuffling them back into your deck, keeping up your card advantage that way, and with the field spell, shuffling them back into your hand and keeping up massive advantage that way. So I'm now going to go into the cards one by one. The main cards that you're going to see, so there are other Madolche cards, but most players aren't going to be using them, so you don't really have to worry about them. Madolche, the witch on the little fork. She is the Stratos of the deck. You summon her, normal summon her only, and you can you can search one Madolche monster and add it to your hand. Awesome. Butler-esque. Summon him while there's another Madolche on the field, and you can search for the field spell. There has to be a Madolche up face up at resolution in order to resolve its effect. So if you torrential, like you have a Madolche on the field, and then you summon Butler-esque, and you torrential, Butler-esque won't get his effect because there's not a monster at resolution. Mufilier. Fulier is the Marauding Captain. You summon her, and you can special summon another Madolche monster from your hand, which combos great with the new Abyss Rising card, Messenglado. Messenglado, when he's special summoned by any card, when he's special summoned, and there's a Madolche Beast monster on the field, like Mufilier, you can search out one Madolche spell or trap card and add it to your hand. So those are the key Madolche monsters. Last one is Croufsant. Croufsant is a level 3 beast. When once per turn, Croufsant can bounce one Madolche card on the field, so field spell can be bounced, other Madolche monsters can be bounced to increase his level by 1 and increase his attack by 300 permanently. The card's pretty good. It can get a pretty big attack. It can be used to get whatever Synchros or XYZ monster you want. And it has 1500 attack to start, which is nice. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the attacks on these guys. 1400, 1900 with the field spell, 15, 2000 with the field spell, 500, 1000 with the field spell, and 16, 21 with the field spell. Next card that you see in some decks, most players don't like him, but I really enjoy him. He allows me to get over Thunder Kings without having to waste summons and stuff like that. Bapple. Bapple. Once per turn you can select one Madolche monster on your side of the field and one attack position monster your opponent controls, and you can switch them both to defense position. And then your opponent can't switch them back until the end of your opponent's next turn. So they can't attack with that monster for a whole turn, and it allows you to, like, if you use Mufilier to summon Bapple, you can use Bapple's effect, and if you have the field spell, you can run over Thunder King with Mufilier. Another card coming out in Abyss Rising is Marmaid. She is 2000 defense, and when she's flipped, face up, then she can add one Madolche spell or trap card from the grave back to the hand. It's great for keeping cards. I'm not really a fan of it. I get enough recycling with Tiara Misu, but some players really like her. Two of the cards you're not going to see a lot of, but some players might use. Chevalier, you can't attack any other Madolches while this guy's face up on the field. However, you can attack a different Madolche Chevalier. That's fine. So unfortunately, he doesn't get that little lock that most cards that have that kind of text get. But he's okay. He's 1700, so he gets 22 with the field spell. And Pudding Cess, the only Madolche monster that actually cares if there's a Madolche in the grave. That there's actually one that benefits if there's a Madolche in the grave. So, if there are no monsters at all in your grave, she gains 800 attack. That's it. So it's really not a big deal if there's a monster in the grave. So don't think you win the game or you have to make an entire deck focused on keeping monsters out of the grave and running terrible cards like Pot of Benevolence. No. That's all. You don't get the 800 boost for Pudding Cess. And most builds don't run her because she's not that consistent. Because she's 5 stars, you have to tribute for her, which is really against her effect, unless you can summon her with Mufilier. However, her effect is awesome. The next part of her effect is that if she attacks, and this effect activates in the substep, the same substep that Raiko activates, which means that even if she dies, her effect still works. You can destroy. If this battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy a card on the field, on your opponent's side of the field. Awesome. So if she suicides into a monster, she gets to pop an extra card. If she suicides into a bigger monster, she can still pop that bigger monster or get rid of that trouble back row that you need to get rid of. There are going to be a couple builds focused on playing her. If you really want to play Pudding Sis Control, I suggest Battle Fader. It's good tribute fodder that allows you to not have monsters in the grave, and Safe Zone to protect her and just let her ram into monsters without caring about D-Present and stuff like that. Or Bottomless, and lets you get her popping effect off a lot. Those builds aren't the most consistent. I might tech her as a one-of card, but that's it. Next, on to their spells. Chateau. Awesome, awesome card. So, first thing it does is when you activate it, all Madolche cards in the grave go back to the deck. Sweet! That's good for Pudding Sis builds, and it's good for just recycling monsters in general. But now the real awesome thing is, all Madolche monsters on the field, it works for the opponent's Madolches too, so mirror match is lame, but it's still, all Madolche monsters on the field get 500 attack and defense boost. Awesome! That's why I was saying with the field spell, all those guys are 14, 15 become like Gravekeepers. They're 19, 2000, 2200. Good card. And the best part is when a Madolche effect activates, Madolche monster effect is going to send a Madolche card back into the deck. It goes to your hand instead. Awesome! It's really consistent. It keeps you lots of hand advantage, and it's a really powerful card. Next, Madolche Ticket, coming out in Abyss Rising. This card, when a Madolche monster is going to be added back into your hand or back into your deck, you can search out one Madolche monster from your deck and add it to your hand. So it's like a wind-up factory. It's really nice. The only caveat is that it's a mandatory effect, so you have to activate it. You can't choose when to activate it, and it's once per turn. Any ticket. So it's not like Factory where if you have like 2-3 wind-up factories on the field, you can activate all 3. No, if you have 2 tickets on the field, you can only activate 1 ticket. So that's the lame part, but it's such a good effect. You have to play at least 2 of these just because it keeps up the deck's consistency so much. It allows you to search out whatever Madolche monster you want, and the little known thing is that if there's a fairy Madolche monster on the field, you can special summon that monster instead of adding it to your hand. So, like, if you have Pudding Sis or the Xyz Tiramisu on the field, then when Ticket Effects activates to add a Madolche monster to your hand, just special that guy right to the field and then make more Xyz monsters. Awesome. Now on to their Xyz. Tiramisu. This card is what makes the deck competitive. It is a good tier 2, solid tier 2 deck. And if played with the right players and the right build, could compete with a lot of tier 1 decks. Like, I've beaten Sams all the time with Madolches, 6 Sams. I've beaten Heroes all the time, so it can hold its own. It has trouble against some of the faster decks like Chaos Dragons and stuff, and some windups, but what deck doesn't? So it's not going to be tier 1 meta, but it can hold its own. But Tiramisu's effect, 2200 attack, so 27 with a field spell. Sweet. Rank 4, so you need 2 level 4 Madolche monsters, good so it's not splashable. And, once per turn, you can, if you have a Madolche card in your grave, so if they've destroyed a magic or trap card of yours, or if you've already Xyz'd and thrown a Madolche in the grave, if you have a Madolche card in the grave, you can detach 1 material from this card, add up to 2 Madolche cards from your grave into your deck, or into your hand if you have Chateau on the field. So, including the card that's discarded for this card's effect. So, if you have, let's say you have like a Bapple, let's say you have like a Mufilier in the grave, just 1. And then, so you can discard, you can detach the Madolche that's on your Tiramisu, and send both Mufilier and Madolche back into the deck. Sweet, kind of like Zombie Master and Lumina. So you can do that, and then you can send 2 cards your opponent controls back into their deck. Awesome! It doesn't destroy them, no Stardust, gets rid of Xyz, gets rid of Synchros, gets rid of everything. Gets rid of back row and shuffles it back into the deck, which means, like, good luck, they have to play all their cards to get that card out again. It's such a good card, and it's an amazing card. The best part about it for me is that it doesn't target which 2 cards it's going to send back into your opponent's deck, which is awesome. Because like Trishula, if they want to not have a card sent back into the deck, they have to chain it immediately before you select which 2 cards are going to go back into the deck. So like if they want to make sure that MST goes off, they're going to have to activate it, making them lose 3 cards instead of just 2 because you used her effect. She's really powerful, really good. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the being shuffled back into the deck effect like the other Madolches do, but just use Chateau and put her back in the extra deck and use her again. Really good card. It's what makes Madolches really powerful in that aspect. Other cards that Madolches are going to use, some might use Scarecrow after that guy topped the regional with it. Honestly, I did not like his build at all. I thought it was terrible. I mean, props to him. He's a good player. He topped with it. And the surprise factor did a lot. Like, Psychic Grand Soil winning. Like, that deck didn't do anything other than get, when it was piloted by Jeff Jones, a really good player, and top the YCS. Since then, we haven't seen Psychic Grand Soil win any other tournaments. So I think it just was the player and his build specifically and knowing his own meta. Next, Ultimate Offering. Every deck's going to run this. We don't need it to win, so don't think like you kill Ultimate Offering, you end the game. No. But if it goes off, I've never lost a game in which Ultimate Offering has successfully resolved. Never. It's broken. It gets you 2 Tiramisus on the field, an Excalibur, and like another XYZ monster. It opens up so many plays. Now for the main Madolche builds. I already told you about the Pudding Cess Control build with Battle Faders and Safe Zones. The other main engine is going to be the TG engine. You're going to, when Mufule special summons a Madolche from your hand, you're going to special summon Warwolf at the same time. No, it won't miss timing. And you can Xyz into Amic Saber Invoker with those 2. And then use Invoker to grab another level 4 Madolche monster from your deck. And then Xyz into Tiramisu. Super common play. Not to mention the TG engine lets you have Striker. Special summon Striker with his own effect. And then Synchro into Naturia monsters. Yay, Naturias. Other engine is the Psychic engine. What? Emergency Teleport at 3. And these guys have some pretty good synergy with the deck. Serene Witch is consistent on her own because if she's destroyed, you get an Esper Girl to the field, and you get to add a card to your hand. Awesome. Not to mention the fact that Serene Witch is a level 3, so you can Xyz with her to make Invoker and other rank 3s, and Esper Girl opens up Naturia Synchros again. Yay. Next is the Stun build. Stun build's going to run Thunder King Ryo because that card's great. It's also going to run, some might run Malefics because 4,000 attack for free is nice. It's awesome. And others might run Wind Up Rabbit because it allows you to keep monsters on the field. And it allows you to have this for Xyz options or just for poking option. So yeah, that's essentially Madolches. How to side. The deck needs to keep up its cards. MSTs and Dust Tornadoes. Get rid of that field spell. If you get rid of the field spell, honestly, it really tears the deck apart. It doesn't allow them to keep that hand advantage, and they get overwhelmed by a lot of decks if they can't keep up that hand advantage or have the 500 boost, because then they just become 14, 1500 monsters, and that's pretty easy to run over this meta. Thunder King, obviously, it hurts the deck because it stops Butlerusk, it stops Messinglado, and it stops Mageline. So that's pretty bad. It also stops their Xyz options, but they can run over a lot of Thunder Kings with this. Next is Soul Drain. Soul Drain just shuts them down from keeping up any kind of advantage, and you can just run over their small monsters and make sure they don't get that advantage if you have Soul Drain on the field. Skill Drain also works, but then what deck doesn't Skill Drain work against? And Royal Decree shuts them down because a lot of Madolches want to play a lot of back row. Oh, another Madolche card I almost forgot. Madolche Happy Festa, which is coming out in Abyss Rising. Happy Festa lets you it's a trap card, and it lets you special summon all Madolches from your hand. Don't let that go off, because they'll make 2 Tiramisus, bounce 4 cards on your field back into your deck, and then destroy you. Madolche Happy Festa is really good. But then again, bottomless all the cards. If they have this card on the field, you can bottomless pretty much all the Madolches coming out of their hand. So that's really dangerous. Bottomless and Deprison. Chaos Sorcerer and Blackluster Soldier. Removal. It hurts them. Because then they can't use those cards later. They can't search for them. They can't shuffle them back into the deck. It's just bad for them in general. So really, you just want to overwhelm the deck. You want to make sure their attempts to slow you down don't work. And if you can overwhelm the deck, they pretty much can't keep up with most decks. Also, I've lost to people going Shockmaster and calling effect monsters, because then my monsters become really small beat sticks. So yeah, that's how to beat the deck. And finally, how to buy. Honestly, if you have Madolches, I would sell them at the sneak peek, and definitely not before Abyss Rising comes out, but either at the sneak peek or sell them before the first YCS after Abyss Rising comes out, because I don't think the deck's going to do better than Tier 2 or Tier 1.5. We didn't get any exclusive support, unfortunately, which really sucks, but this card right now has gone up to $11 a card, and it's only a super rare. It was down to like $6.50 before Abyss Rising got this close. So I would sell these guys after Abyss Rising comes out. They might shoot up to 13. I wouldn't really buy Madolches. If you can trade for Tiara Misu's, she's going to be an Ultra. So she could be 20, 30, even 40 if the hype is enough. So Tiara Misu's going to be a really good card. You can get ultimate versions of her. If you want to play the deck, I would get Emic Saber Invoker now. He's a secret, which means he has the potential to skyrocket up to $50, $60, $90 card. Madolches aren't going to be the new wind-up, so I don't see that happening, but he's like $6 right now. He could skyrocket to 15, 20 bucks if people realize you pretty much need him to play the deck. Okay, you don't need him, but he makes the deck so much better. So I would definitely get an Emic Saber Invoker before the hype hits. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait like a month for the hype to go down and for the prices to readjust. But yeah, those are the main cards. You could get Malefic Cyber and Soul of Silver Mountain, although he's already used in like a lot of decks and his price hasn't skyrocketed, so I don't think it's going to go up anymore. But it's a good card and it's going to be seen in Madolches. So that's the latest how to play, how to side, and how to buy. Leave any questions you guys have in the comments below. Comment, rate, subscribe, and my next video will be on Atlanteans and Mermails and telling you how that deck's going to be built. I'm also going to put up some deck profiles of my Madolche decks. I'm really liking Psychic Madolches right now. I think it's the most consistent version and the most powerful. So yeah, see you later, YouTube. Bye.